Hi, my friends, and welcome to week 5 of our summer reading, Imagine Your Story, summer reading story time. And this week's theme is basically books on film, mythology-themed books, fairy tale-themed books, dragon-themed books. And so today we're going to also read a story that has been made into a movie, and we are going to read Where the Wild Things Are. But we have a couple of songs and our book and a craft to do today. So if you want to get started, I'm Miss April, and I'm the youth librarian here at Janaden Hutton Public Library. This is my 5th year, if you haven't met me. If you have, and you usually come to my story time, I just want to remind you I miss you so very much, and I'm looking forward to when we can get together again for a real in-house story time. I miss the snack, and I miss crafting with you. I miss making our fun little crafts, like the dragon that we made last week, and the monster we're going to make today. It'll be fun if we could make it together. But you can make it at home, and maybe you'll send me a picture, or you can bring it in and show it to me when you come in to get your books. Just a reminder, we are open downstairs here in our youth department on Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the upstairs hours are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and we aren't open on Sunday at all. Okay, so let's get started. If you want to stand up, this is a good movement song for you, so you can get moving and then get ready to have our quiet story time, okay? I'm not going to stand up because you won't be able to see me on the camera. It sits here on my desk, and I can't get far enough away for you to be able to see me, but I'll try to do the movements here, right? This is called If You Want to Be a Monster. It's like if you're happy and you know it, all right? So, if you want to be a monster, now's your chance, 'cause everybody's doing the monster dance. You stamp your feet around, stamp them right into the ground. Are you stamping your feet? If you want to be a monster, now's your chance. If you want to be a monster, now's your chance, 'cause everybody's doing the monster dance. You just stretch your arms around, stretch them up and stretch them down. If you want to be a monster, now's your chance. You want to do that one more time? All right, if you want to be a monster, now's your chance, 'cause everybody's doing the monster dance. You just stamp your feet around, stamp them right into the ground. If you want to be a monster, now's your chance. If you want to be a monster, now's your chance, 'cause everybody's doing the monster dance. You just stretch your arms around, stretch them up and stretch them down. If you want to be a monster, now's your chance. All right, are you ready for our book? Do you feel like you've got your movement and your sillies out? Did you wiggle them all around? Okay, we're going to read Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. This is a great book, boys and girls. I love this one. And if you haven't seen the movie, you can order it here at the library. I do believe we have one copy available. And we can try to share that, get it around to everyone who'd like to see it. Or you can try looking for it in your streaming devices. You might even be able to find it on YouTube. In fact, when I'm finished recording this, I will look and see if there's a public YouTube link, and I will share that with you on our Facebook page and our website if I find it, okay? All right, Where the Wild Things Are. See my friend Max? There's Max. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind. He's wearing his wolf suit. I love that. And another. He's chasing the dog. His mother called him Wild Thing. And Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. Do you see the forest? Excuse me. And grew. It grew and grew. and grew until his ceiling hung with vines, and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through the night and day. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. See, his mom said he's a wild thing, so he used his imagination to go find the other wild things. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes. Can you roll your eyes with me? I bet you can. And showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still!" and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. Do you ever try that? Do you ever play a staring game? And made him king of all the wild things. Do you see his crown? And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. What do you think a rumpus might be? A wild rumpus. Let's find out. Oh, I think they're dancing, maybe. Maybe they're doing the monster dance. Got their hands up all around, feet stomping in the ground. Oh, and they're hanging from trees. That looks like fun, doesn't it? Oh, and they're carrying their king around. Now stop, Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. Where do you think someone who loves him most of all might be? Where do you think he smells the smells of all the good things to eat? But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye and sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. Where do you think he's going, boys and girls? And into the night of his very own room, where he found supper waiting for him. I bet the person who loves him most of all left it there. And it was still hot. I like that book. Do you use your imagination? Do you ever pretend to be something? I have a son. His name is Jonah, and he has the best imagination. And when he was little like Max in our book, he would pretend to be somebody, and you had to guess. I had to guess who he was because he would not respond to his name anymore. So if he was pretending to be Samus from a video game he liked, I had to know that he was Samus, and I had to call him Samus. Otherwise, he didn't hear me at all. He was the best play pretender I've ever met. He's still very good at playing pretend. And sometimes I think as adults, we forget how fun it is to play pretend. Don't ever lose that. It's good to get to pretend that you're somebody else. It's a good time. Some people become actors, or some people, when they get into middle school and high school, they really like being in their school performances because they get to be somebody else on stage and they get to wear costumes. And maybe that's something you would like to do when you're a little older too. It's a lot of fun. All right. Are you ready for our next song? It's called 10 Little Monsters, and maybe you can count with me as we put them up. Are you ready? Let's see if we can see them. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little monsters, 4 little, what comes next? 5 little, 6 little monsters, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little monsters. Ready? 10 monsters can't scare me. You want to count them with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little monsters. You want to sing again? Here we go. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little monsters, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little monsters, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little monsters, 10 monsters can't scare me. Good job. Did you sing at home? I hope you did. I love to sing. Now let me show you our craft today. Do you remember the book we just read, Where the Wild Things Are? We are going to make our own wild thing and puppet today. Yeah. If you do not have a paper bag at home and you're close to the library, please stop by. I have plenty to share with you, my friends. And if you aren't able to come nearby, you don't have to have a paper sack at all. You can draw a monster and then make the face with me as we make our craft today. You can use a paper plate and have a round monster and just put a face on. Don't get tied up in the little details if you don't have absolutely the same things I have, okay? Because you can make any kind of little monster, little wild thing that you wish to make today, okay? All right, let's get started. I'm gonna hold up the craft supply list for your parents, and for those of you who are readers, maybe you could read it to your parents. You will need a paper lunch sack, scissors, scrap paper, black marker, or black paper if you have that, and glue or glue sticks, okay? All right, let's get started. The first thing I like to do, and I've already done it, is for little hands like yours and like mine, my hands aren't very big, I like to cut the paper bag to make it a little bit easier for you to get your little arm in. So I just took a pair of crafting scissors and cut them off, but you can use any kind of scissors that you want to use, even a pair like this, okay? All right, let me adjust my camera so you can see my work. Can you see my paper bag there, my friends? All right, and I have these foldable edge facing up toward me. The first thing we are going to do is make our eyes. So I have a little scrap of yellow paper because I wanted to make my eyes yellow. You can use any color you wish. And I'm just folding it in half, so I only have to cut one time. And I'm going to make 2 round eyeballs, about the size of a quarter, maybe slightly larger. You can make yours any size you want. I'm just roughly cutting it round. All right. right, 2. I'm going to just set them on there. I'm not going to glue them on yet, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is make a nose. I have a little red piece of paper for my nose, just a little scrap, and I'm going to cut it, kind of like a teardrop shape, I guess, is what I would call it. But you can make any shape you want. Don't spend a lot of time on it. There's my little nose, and I'm going to stick that right there. Yep. The next thing I'm going to do is pull off a piece of my white scrap to make teeth and horns. Alright, so I cut that in half. And then I'm going to cut it in half again. This is all I need. This little scrap right here is all that I need. I'm going to make the teeth first. I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then I'm going to fold it in half again, and then using the edge that's been cut, not the edge that is folded, as my bottom, I'm going to cut a triangle, and this should give me 4 teeth that are exactly the same size and shape. Alright. So let's see, do I have 4 teeth? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I do. Now, with the other scrap, I'm going to fold it as well. And then I'm going to cut horns, or what I think the horns should look like anyway. And you can make this whatever shape you want. I'm just going to go up and round just a little bit, and then maybe I'll round that a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut like that, and maybe I have my 2 horns, which will go right here. Let me pull that back a little bit. All right, what are we missing? What do you see? Oh, we still need to make the hair. We need to draw the little mouth. And I used a marker to draw the circles. You can use black paper if you have that. I'm going to only make the hair, and that takes a little bit of time to do. And don't think that it has to be as scalloped or as edgy as mine. You can even, if you like, just cut strips of your black paper and put them across the top, okay? I'm going to I think I'll do that today too. That's not what I did on the other one, but I think that'll be fun to cut strips of black paper. So I think this is maybe a little bit long, so I'm just going to trim it up a little, and then I'm going to cut some jaggedy strips of paper. All right, are you still cutting with me? You can cut them any length and width, shape that you'd like. I really like this idea. That might actually be enough. We'll find out. Okay, are you ready to start gluing? We're gonna start with our hair. Okay, I moved my horns off, and I'm just going to put some glue straight across the top. Now, glue sticks dry pretty clear, so don't you worry if you don't have hair all over it, because they dry pretty clear. And then I'm just going to start putting my hair in there. And I'm going to work as quickly as I can, because it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, we can even make it look less perfect, can't we? I don't know about you, but I don't think wild things brush their hair very often, if at all. So they probably have some really crazy hair going on, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. And we have it right across the top. Here we go. Ooh. Might throw a couple more pieces in here where I have a lot of glue. All right, what do you think? There's my hair. Now I'm going to put my horns on. I'm going to take my little scrap that I have left to protect my table with. I'm going to put a horn right there. And I'm going to put the other horn right here. Now I'm going to glue my eyes. So here's one eye. Ready for the other? There's my other eye. And what do you think should go next? How about our nose? We'll stick our nose in there. And then I'm going to put the teeth on. Well, no, you know what? I think I will use my black marker first. Make it a little easier for us. So, two things we want to do with our black marker. First, we want to color in the pupils on our eyes. That's the dark spots. And I think I'm going to draw mine up here. Like maybe he's rolling his eyes. Remember, they roll their scary eyes. Mine just came unglued. And they gnash their teeth. And they show their claws. Yeah. All right, there's my eyes. And then we need to put a little mouth here. And I'm just going to lift this up just a tiny bit. And then draw my mouth in there. Do you see the mouth? And then we just need to put our teeth on and our craft is finished. So I'm going to find my teeth that are over here on my little craft pile. And here's a tooth. And here's a tooth too. I'm gluing the teeth to the top part of the bag, okay? Above the fold. There's a tooth. And one last tooth. All right, there's our wild thing hand puppet. What do you think? It's the one I made yesterday and the one we made together today. Very cool, don't you think, boys and girls? I really like this one. Thank you for making a craft with me today. And thank you for watching our story time. I will be back next week. Next week's theme is Into the Woods, and the big kids will be tasked with doing a scavenger hunt. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about what that is. Maybe I can find a book about a scavenger hunt that might explain it a little better than I can. This week, the bigger kids are watching movies at home, movies that are based on fairy tales or books or mythology or dragons. And maybe you could watch a movie with your friends and your family at home. And let me know what movie you watched. On our website and our Facebook page will be a list of movies I suggest, but you're not limited to those movies. You could really watch any book-based fairy tale. The Disney movies are wonderful. You could even watch, if you really wanted to, the Avengers, because Thor and Loki are in the Avengers, and that's a mythology-based idea. the world is yours when it comes to what you watch this week at home. I miss you. I hope to see you soon. Come and visit me when I'm here and pick out books for you to read with your families. And I will see you next week. Bye.